The following training video is centered on the concept of inclusion for persons with disabilities in recreational sports and activities settings. It does not specifically address higher level sports.
Gabe has autism, and autism is a giant spectrum. Even ADHD falls in line there, but he also has that. But when you meet Gabe initially, he's just excited. And you maybe have never seen a stim before. A stim is a repetitive behavior that they have to I just think it's his joy overflowing, and that's what I say because he gets so excited and that's when it happens. But he has some repetitive behaviors that he does. But you can't tell that Gabe has anything intellectually, or he doesn't have anything intellectually, but his behavior doesn't show us right away that he has autism. So never assume, because you are going to be embarrassed when you realize that my son has a disability and you were just trying to give me all kinds of judgment about it. And so it's hard when people can't see, because it's so easy to be like, what the heck's wrong with him when he's acting a certain way.
The biggest challenge that I've had with including people with disabilities is making sure that we have the right equipment. And what I mean, especially in the pool area, is if somebody that is in a wheelchair comes into our facility, we need to make sure that they are able to get into the water. And so I have worked at facilities where they do not have the chair to take somebody and place them into the water. If they, aren't even able to walk down the stairs, if they're in a wheelchair, and we didn't have that. So that was one of the things that I really had to push for. So I think having the correct equipment is extremely important. And without that, you can't really be inclusive to everybody and allow them the same opportunity that we give able-bodied people.
First, when I first started, we didn't have transportation that was wheelchair accessible. So it was making sure that we had the ability to transport our friends that were in wheelchairs. Also, we take field trips during the summertime, and the kids with disabilities couldn't be an afterthought with it. And so we became very intentional with where we were going and what we were doing to make sure that they could participate as well.
When Jude was in preschool, they put him in a segregated preschool, and they assured me when there was things he could do as the class, he would be involved. So I would show up, and it was lunchtime, and he was not with the regular class, or recess. And I said, he can do lunch and recess. So can we at least start there? And then we sort of had to prove his way out of the special ed environment. We had to actually go to therapy and show if you enlarge the material, if you make it higher contrast, he can learn. That was the only ticket we found out. But in the meantime, I think about him sitting in that little room with only 3 or 4 other kids that had disabilities, some very profound disabilities. And why are they segregated together? What does that tell them? What does that tell them about their worth? I think his confidence grew when he became more in the regular class, right? And they just found a way to mark the floor, stand here, Jude, or do a simple accommodation with some tape. So I think it's really important to treat people with dignity and assume competence and provide opportunity for them to participate for their well-being, and also to teach others to be that way.
One of the things that I learned over time is that your first instinct is to go in and just do for them or do with them. And a lot of times they just want to do it on their own, and then you're there for support if needed. You don't have to step in all the time to do it. Let them tell you when you're needed, and then let them try to figure it out.
It's opening up the staff and kids' minds that everyone can be included, and changing those perceptions that were there before of, well, this person has this, so they can't do that. They can, just in a different way.
Compassion that you receive back. So it's kind of a special relationship, is that, people with disabilities just want to be treated like anybody else and how you would treat anybody else. And so you get that same respect back. And even if you don't deserve it, they still give you that same respect back. And I think that's really special, because you don't get that, with people that may not have disabilities.